So hi class, how are you? For this lesson, we will be tackling workplace and office design. So um, I already posted the videos and the reading assignments that are there for you to consume, and hopefully you will read them intently. But just to summarize it, um, the first thing is to discuss objectives. So for this topic, hopefully we'll learn about the history of how office spaces, how they came to be, the types of office spaces, especially in the interior typology. Also, to discuss what a typical office operation is, and to compare the differences of the traditional office spaces that started in the Industrial Revolution up onto the new office organizational structures, such as office spaces, open office spaces, that you see in a lot of buildings right now, and a lot of offices right now, especially for business processing offices or BPO offices. Also expound how important it is incorporating the culture of the corporation is, to identify the types of the office spaces, which is different from the typology. When you say types of office spaces, such as the manager's office, accounting office, etc., which you will find later as you read through the resources in the virtual library. And then, of course, what are the planning and design elements that you should be considering when designing offices, such as doing feasibility studies prior to designing. So that means it would have to entail for the designer going to the space prior to assessing the design. So you would have to go to the physical space. For example, if you are being hired prior to the client leasing out the space, then sometimes it will entail for the designer to go to the client and to see the type of or the area of the space. When you say feasibility studies, what area is the office feasible for their office operations, and safety and security. What are the safety security measures that you would have to incorporate into the office design, sustainable design, helping the client save money based on the energy. As a designer, what type of intervention can you do for the designer to save on the energy and the costs? For example, probably putting window tints so that the heat would not penetrate inside the office, and thereby you are saving on the electricity, or probably incorporating indoor plants in the interior. So those are sustainable design measures, code requirements. So I do not expect you to go through the local building codes, because there is a separate subject for that one. But I hope you will read through the I understand also that the codes that are stated in the book are not necessarily applicable to our local setting. But if you already have an idea, then you can input it out. But I don't expect you, since we are not having that subject yet, you will have that subject on your third year design. Okay, and then code requirements, space allocation and circulation. As a designer, you need to know what spaces should be allocated prior to designing the offices. So that would probably mean going through the organizational structure of the company, so that you'll be able to allocate appropriately the spaces that are needed. For example, how big should the manager's office be? and then how big should the accounting department be, okay, and then ADA, uh, that is the American version for BP 344, the American Disabilities Act. So we have a local BP 344, and then impact in office planning. Of course, we've always been considering the the PWD, the persons with disabilities, in our design. Okay, so also if you may have noticed, I've always been stressing this out when I correct your plates to always consider PWD, especially those who are the wheelchair bound. The furniture, of course, there are certain types of requirements and ergonomics for the furniture. Standards, which there is a separate document for that. You just have to open it, which will expound the um, ergonomic standards for office furniture design. So that is on a different file, so please open that one up. And then the materials, finishes, and colors. Of course, that's very basic for interior designer to consider the type of material to use, the finish, and of course the color. And hopefully you can apply the things that you have learned in your color theory to be able to discuss more about the color, what is the color that is best for office spaces, okay. And we cannot do away, of course, with mechanical systems such as the acoustics. You need to know if for the design, acoustics is very important for their office. Of course, the sound, and then mechanical systems, what type of ECU are they using? You need to know about that. Is it split type? Is it just window type? Okay, is it cassette or ceiling type? And then of course, you need to know their internet requirements, their communication requirements. You need to be able to input it in the design. Most probably you need to know, like for example, the servers. Are they using separate servers? Does it should have to be contained in a room which is air conditioned? So these are the type of questions asked when you design office spaces, okay. And then for the I want you to enumerate the 5 points, at least 5 points for each when designing, as discussed in the book, when designing a closed office plan, which is a traditional type of office. When we say an closed office plan, it means there's really a designated office for the manager, for the employees. Each employee has his or her own cubicle. Like for example, maybe the accounting department has really their separate office and things of that nature. And when you say open office plan when designing for it, which is the trend nowadays, office open office plan is a plan wherein there is no clear distinction between there's between in the organizational structure or physical organizational structure and how the space is being designed. The employees are free to be wherever they want to be. There's no designated table for a majority of the employees. Probably a manager may have his or her own designated, but the rest of the employees, it's really an open office plan. There are no clear cut walls and divisions between the employees. There's no designated table for the office, so that is an open office plan. And then a small office, what are the things that should be considered? And of course, which is the trend because of this supposed pandemic, the home office. How do you design a appropriate home office? Okay, and then number 8, of course, the in types. There are 10 in types for the workplace plan. Of course, you still have the marching order. There is a light seam and You will learn more about that. So this activity is similar to previous activity that we did on the retail and showroom design. Okay. And then, of course, I have a last question, which is, what do you think is the future of office post COVID-19 pandemic? How the spaces will look like? So this one, I posted 3 videos for you to take a look at. Okay. So if you have any questions or clarifications, please let me know by commenting down below. Okay. So I'll see you next time.